Okay, folks, welcome back. Well, we went to the store and got supplies. Let's get rid of this mouse. We don't need this right now. And of course, I didn't make a list, or I would have bought more of this, but I think I have enough of this to get by. Certainly for today. Foam core board. I think we're going to focus on. Hello. I think we're going to focus on building and not necessarily painting. So, yeah, so we ended up picking up more of this. Really had to do some digging to find it. They were like really out of it. And where's my garbage can? Why the hell did I move? And we printed out some other adverts as well. This is getting out of control. Okay. All right. I'm going to take this drawer, pull it back out. And we'll put all building materials here. I did come across these that were pretty handy. Little stirrers, and I think that they'll work perfectly for the border on some of these signs because there's kind of really a lack of that size of thing. So, and I looked at these like, man, these may be really good for a Russian fence, but let's not get sidetracked with that. We're not going back to the Eastern Front just yet. So here we've got, this is the only two pieces of this border material that they had. So pick that up. And I got a square. But I mean, literally, I would have picked up probably 5 pieces of that. Didn't have any. So, and this. So we'll have to make do. I'm sure we'll do just fine. But I was, it's after COVID, so nobody has anything in stock anymore. Post-COVID, everybody's a sissy about stock and stuff. I haven't bought wood in 30 years. So, all right. So we left off is we got the Cruel Britannia sign done. And we got gooping and stuff here that we need to do. We'll get all the goopy stuff at once. Boombox Carnage one's already done. I was disappointed. I got the I have a larger Boombox Carnage one. I decided not to do it. Well, the thing is the reason I went to this larger size is because the Asian Decimation did not have good graphics on it to print it out. But the little Boombox Carnage and the big one look good. So, yeah. Looks pretty good. So, anyhow, we got to finish the Asian Decimation sign. Okay, we're going to put some supports on here so that it looks like it's supposed to be. I'm not going to put it way the hell back here with supports. I mean, I could add and extend this piece and then put, but I don't really need that kind of. I don't really want to have that big of a footprint. So we're probably going to weigh this down with pennies or something like that to just give it a little bit more, not teeter-totter in it. It's not bad. So, and then we went ahead and since this is the last one of the 3 that I printed out, I printed out the other logos that we're going to be building, including Marty's shop sign and the Red Nix and Circus Germanicus. So these are going to be the other 2. I just went ahead and made them I like them this size because that way you can see them. I mean, they've got details on them that I want to be seen, and they're cool. They're cool looking. So, all right. So Asian Decimation. Let's see what we've got here. We need to do some supports. Now, we didn't have enough of this to do the supports. We had this one. Thank you. We had this one, and we had this little bit. That's what we needed to get more of that other size. So we got plenty of sticks of this, or at least plenty for now. It's 1/8 by 1/4, made in Ecuador. Okay, well. There's special treat that balsa wood comes from? I guess there is. Oh, this has like a variety of sizes. I wasn't expecting that. Well, I think. Yeah, some of these were broken, and I'm like, I'm not asking you for a discount, but I'll take these other 2 pieces that looks like they came out of a package for free, and they went with it. Well, they weren't going to sell them. They have these 2 pieces that were loose, and they don't sell anything by the piece. They have them in packages, and there's no other packages they go with because they were out of them. Okay. Yep, this is the same size. Perfect. Okay, 2, 3. We need 4, and this one's a little bit smaller. 4. Can we make that work? That means it wouldn't be any taller than... Yeah, I think that'll work. Where the super readers at? There they are. Yeah, we got our contacts in now, so we don't have the +6 vision. We'll have to settle for 375 or 350 or whatever the hell these things are. I think I can make that piece work. So what we'll do is this will be the that way we can make this thing, we could find this thing useful. I'm going to cut this even at the top here. This will kind of be the standard one. And that way we don't have this piece is not getting used. Because we need to be frugal with this stuff if it's hard to get. Now, I might be able to order this stuff online, but I wanted to work on this tonight. So, okay, so we're going to cut all these pieces to the same length this one is. Which I can't do. I actually have to cut this one down. Because this one already came this size. It was broken this size. And we specifically want to use balsa for this. Because this we have to cut at an angle and it's just make our life a lot easier than any other way. Alright, so we're going to take this, we're going to go about as far as it'll go. Oh, we're going to have to, let's see, this goes all the way to the end. So let's cut and remove some of this cork from here. We just need a tiny little footprint for this to attach to it. Okay, and same thing underneath, we're going to need this. Just give me just a little footprint for that thing to attach to. Yeah, something like that. And we don't need much of an angle. Let's try doing this a little bit. Well, this one has a very kind of a big, I guess we need to stick to the same thing. All right, so we're going to go and taper this to almost nothing. And hopefully we don't screw up. But once again, a face-to-face store didn't have, they basically were out of the product. I just ended up getting scraps. I said I wasn't necessarily looking for anything in particular. That's perfect. And that'll fit on there like that. If it's somewhat flush, let's do the other ones just like that, or close to it. Okay, now we just have to glue these pieces, and they should fit. Maybe remove a little bit here. And this is just for aesthetics. This does not help anything at all. I mean, I guess it reinforces it a little bit, but this is just for aesthetics. And every one of these is different. These are all bespoke. I've turned into my own worst enemy using terminology I hate. They're all custom. Okay, so the thing is here, we're gonna squeeze some glue there, and then we're gonna put some here at the top. Let's go ahead and remove this so we don't accidentally get something on it we don't want. Remove this. All right, there's one of them. Same thing with this other one. And we're going to do some other type of reinforcing on here. We're going to give these things personality. And I probably am going to use the spray. I probably am going to spray paint it, airbrush it. I'll use a lot less paint. Well, we're going to use craft paint anyways. Well, not if I'm going to airbrush it. I'll use primer. I was going to hand paint it. I'll probably use craft paint. I don't know. How about I figure that out when I do it? The only part that wouldn't cover well with a paintbrush is the front, and the front's going to be covered. So... and then the last one here. All right. So this is all together. And now this is going to increase some in weight when we end up adding the goop. But it may not be enough to keep this from being top heavy. So one of the things we can do is we can add some weights in here. And, you know, this is going to be covered in goop, so it doesn't really matter that... if that has it or not. Let's see what we have in our weights department. I don't think I have any extra weights that came with them. that I used on these walls. Let's see. I mean, hell, small washers would be just fine. But I don't have any right now, so that's probably what I'm going to do. Get a bunch of little small washers, put some here. They'll be hidden in the goop, and it'll weigh this thing down, and that should be just fine. So I'm not going to focus on this thing falling over at this point, but I think that's probably the easiest thing to do because it's not going to interfere with any of it at all. Okay, so support-wise, that one we made a bunch of V's. Since we are short-handed on this material, I'm not really keen on using this for the supports, per se. Although I'm not against it either. Let's see what we have. How much more of this do we have? So we're going to need to use this for like... Let's punt on that, right? And see what we have left when we make the other signs. Because I can use other supports. I wouldn't mind using these, but I'm going to have to use this stuff for the verticals, and I don't want to run out of that. Okay, so I'm going to move that off to the side. That's the basic design of that when it's done. All right, what do we have left here? We've got the Marty sign. That one's going to be traditional. The redneck sign is going to be non-traditional. We're going to put, and it's about this size, right? It's about that size, yeah. So this one's going to have like a stand on it. We're going to work something here so there's like a little bit of there's like a stand somewhere where somebody can be up there shooting at everybody. Now, I don't think I'm going to put it up here. I think it's going to make it extra top heavy. I think we're going to put it somewhere so we can do a little ladder, and it's maybe sitting off here to the side. Okay. So let's go ahead and cut these out of the paper like we did the other ones. And this is just inkjet. Pretty good quality of color. Make sure it's all on this cutting board. And then we'll do the same with the top. Well, hopefully we get some activity. We got some good activity this morning. I'm not going to be doing this all night. I just figured there's an opportunity to do this. I need a new blade. We're not going to throw that one away. We still use that one for wood, but we need a new blade. We're going to cut paper. We only have about 100 more blades. For some reason, it decided to get incorrigible. And the other side. Hey, Jeffrey, this is your Scottish flag people right here. I had to make a Scottish flag and then change the white into the red. It actually left me a little border of white. That works. I had to screw with it very little. Okay, and there we have it. Rednicks, Blackwoods, Berserkers. Okay, now time for Circus Germanicus. Speed is everything. That's what it's supposed to say. That's what I needed to do. Get some height advantage so I have better LOS. Okay, and then that one's done. Yeah, a Rabbit, a BMW, and a Porsche. Okay. And Marty's sign. Probably could get one of these that's metal. The problem with the metal ones is they usually have like cork or something below them. And that means that they're not going to sit flush against a piece of paper. Okay, is this one? Yep, it's long. Is this long enough? Yes, it is. Wasn't expecting that. Startled me. Let's see what we got here. It's pretty good. Looks like a comic book. Well, that's the whole point. Let's do Marty's next. Very rectangular sign. Now, how is it going to fit with the footprint of the tongue depressor? Perfect. Whew, not quite. Not quite. One of these corners true 90? It is. That is my pencil. We went on a road trip. I took a look. Be right back. We're going to take those two lines and we're going to drop a 90 on them. Now let's see how this fits inside this little box. And somehow it's a little big. Well, that's why we did it. Now let's see how it fits inside that box. That's where we need to cut it. Okay. I would not have done it this way if that guy had not done the video showing it to do it this way. And I like it. I would have made this out of one piece of wood, basswood probably, and then it would be more top heavy. So I like his spin on it. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. So, what do we have that we can use as a frame of this? This is a relatively long length. These sticks that I have, are they long enough for it? They sure as hell are. Okay, we got a shitload of these. So let's grab 4 of them. Yeah, that'll work. It doesn't overhang as much as some of the other ones, but I don't have the. They're not available. They did not have any of the wider ones available. This works just fine. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Lee? See, I remembered. Yeah, I cleaned out Hobby Lobby. They didn't have anything. Hobby Lobby is kind of like a chain hobby store. It's the only one left. Hobby stores are basically dead in the United States unless you live in some place that has them. Yeah, I guess, but even in the 90s when I worked at one, even in the 90s, people would they'd want to save 10% mail ordering things. And it's not like now where you get things immediately, but the closest hobby store we have is probably 30 miles away from the old town I used to live in. So I don't know, 50 miles away probably. That just doesn't make any sense to go and drive out there for that. Well, I cleaned them out. Let me show you a picture of what the balsa wood place looks like. I was not expecting this. It turned out just fine, but I got scared when I saw this. So here's the balsa wood rack. You see, it's freaking empty. Completely empty. And but there was things that were tucked in. And all these things that you see are none of the sizes that I need. So what I actually found is hidden in the back, tucked in there, there was a package of this is the kind of the standard size that I was using for the back. I just lucked out. And then there was some square stock here that I got. Oh, and these pieces were loose. This basswood was loose. So it worked out okay, but it's a good thing I didn't need any more. I would have been up a creek. And then I got these little I was going to call them swizzle sticks. No, they're like little coffee stirrers. And that's what we're going to use for the stuff that we put on the edges, because I didn't have the stuff that I normally would get. They were out of it. So it worked out okay. It worked out. I thought I was going to have to mail order it. So okay, so we're going to let this stick out a little bit farther there and a little bit farther here. Yeah, this is hard stuff. Okay, make sure we like this. We do. All right, let's cut one just like it. Cut the end of this one off. So I talked them into giving me this 2 pieces of the hard stock free, because the balsa wood pack, that was a pack of 5, was damaged. Maybe I could make it work. But I don't think that place is set up to buy things by the each. So I had 2 loose pieces that either fell out of another package or somebody tinkered with it or something. I knew they weren't going to be able to sell it. So I'm like, How about just give me these two? You know, because I want to buy them. You know, how are they going to come up with a price? There's no price code or anything on there. You've been recording vlogs for channel, now you need to edit them. Yeah. I don't mind editing things. I hate crunching it. Do you have a YouTube channel? If you have a YouTube channel, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's the filming, there's the editing, there's the what I call crunching it, and then the uploading it, and then the YouTube processing it. And the part I hate is the crunching, because I do everything on my phone. I want to use free software because I want easy to use software, and a lot of the software is just too complicated. I am not a technology guy. That doesn't mean I hate technology. It's just I don't use technology for a living. So, they keep inventing new ways to do shit. And it's like, the rest of us, like, look, we're just doing this for therapy. Don't ruin my therapy. So I don't mind editing it, but the editor that I use is the one I use on my phone called KineMaster. And it's not perfect, but it's easy as shit to use. It doesn't have any of the extra frills. I don't need the extra frills. You already know how to edit a video if you've never edited a video. I'm sure you know how to edit one, but I mean, just people in general. You know how to, if you watch commercials, you know what it is. Okay, I want the sound to go up. I want this to close. I want that to flip and turn into something else. All that's easy to do. It's common sense if you've watched any programming ever, which we all have. Common sense. But a lot of this stuff, like, oh, you need to get DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is like, it's so complicated. Like, if you're going to make commercials for like NBC, like, I don't need all those bells and whistles. It just has a lot of noise. You're like, okay, I don't need that. I don't need that thing either. I don't need, just keep it simple. Got channel, all your stuff on my channel, yeah. So what I hate is not the editing part, although it takes forever, because it's easy for me to use because of the program that I do. But when you get it all ready and you upload it to YouTube, you have to crunch it on your device, which in my case is a phone. And I can't use my phone for anything else while that's happening. And if it's a complicated video, or if it's a long video, geez, I wasn't expecting that to happen. If it's a long video, that could be a long process. We're making a mess with something that shouldn't be making a mess with. And I'm already doing something wrong, which is I need to be doing this on the cardboard, not on this. So if we do get goop, we don't have to. Although it'll come right off of that. So, one of my pet peeves, people say, well, I can't watch a video that's 4 hours long. And I'm sorry, I can't edit a video down to a reasonable amount just to appease some people, because let's face it, I'm not doing my hobby while I'm editing a video. So I think that, it's like I say, I do what you do, and if people don't like that, well, then they can tune into something else. But I don't mind helping people out, but some people just can't be bothered. I got I guess we're gonna have to reset. Son of a bitch. All right, well, I guess we'll find out how easy this is to remove this. I fucked this one all 6 ways. I've got back when I was doing DBA videos, all of my local people, they wouldn't watch my videos. They're like, oh, we don't have time for that. I said, well, I don't have time to edit a video. And I don't like editing stuff, right? And it all comes from reality shows and stuff like that. I never like reality shows because it's all edited and who knows what they show you and is it staged, and I don't like anything staged. It is what it is, and you guys get to see what it happens. And I like doing these live videos because basically when I'm done filming the video, I walk away and I move on with the rest of my life and anything else that I have to do, honey-do list, whatever. Not, okay, well, I got to sit here and now spend 6 hours editing a video, You got GoPro and a camera. GoPros are expensive still. They still cost a couple $100. I wanted to do how-to videos, and I started doing a how-to video on how to paint tanks. And I realized I need somebody else. If I'm going to do that, I'm just going to give up on this thing. I'm not going to throw it away, but I obviously fucked this one up big time. I was filming this video, and it was turning out really well. for those people that can't be bothered to listen to because some people want to see the live stuff and some people don't. And I ended up filming a good portion of it, and then when I go to look at it, everything I was doing was out of register. Well, of course, I'm doing it. I can't be in two places at once, and I got really discouraged. And I just realized, at that point, I got to start making it easy for people. Like, I'm going to do what I do, and if it works for you, it works for you. And if not, well, no harm, no foul. But it's not like I do this for a living. I like to tell people, I do this so I don't quit my day job. It's an anti-frustration, and if you start creating a bunch of frustration, then, and I've almost quit doing videos several times, and it's basically because of the crunching. I had one video, a long time ago. I had an earlier phone, and that's not good. We're not ready for that yet. It took me 7 or 8 tries, 6 or 8 hours at a time crunching the video. That was on the, let's say it was the S8? No, it was on the Note 2. On the Note 2, the first video I was filming with. And I almost quit doing videos because it was so I couldn't use my phone, I couldn't surf, I couldn't do anything. And, you had to keep refreshing the screen. And, the editing process is easy. Works great. It's breaking it down into packets so it can be sent out to YouTube. Even uploading it to YouTube, that could take forever because if it gets interrupted for some reason, you can pick up right back where you left off. You got airbrush booth, got full hobby room for my hobby. Yeah, I got this, and I've got the airbrush station in the garage. Well, the only reason I airbrush is because, Rust-Oleum bought Model Master and then put them out of business. I was perfectly, I was just using it for priming. I was using it for sealing. That's it. And then when the quality of the spray paints went to shit, any replacement for either the quality of the airbrush, the quality of the spray cans, the toxicity of it. I've never been a person that's like, oh, that's too stinky, I can't use that. Right? You're using things in a well-ventilated area. It's not a problem. But and the quality of them just got terrible. Like, you couldn't use up a whole can. It would, peter out on you before that. Then I'm like, I got to come up with something else because this isn't working. I don't need an airbrush to paint things. But you do need it to prime, or it'll just take forever. And I don't mind certain processes taking a long time, but priming shouldn't be one of them. And if there's a little gap there when you put the sign on here, you won't see that gap. You won't have to mind that gap. I guess the few that I pulled out already got used. I've said before, I don't really like doing suggestion videos. Hey, you should do this, you do that. Because then as soon as you start doing stuff that people suggest you to do, you automatically get this idea, okay, well, I'm doing what people want, so I should get more views than I normally do. And that just isn't the case. And then you get demoralized, or at least I get demoralized. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I do. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, well, that's okay too, But immediately when you're like, oh, let me do what people want, then all of a sudden I'm not accomplishing my goals. Because right now, whether people watch this or not, and I appreciate that people watch this, I'm doing what I need to be doing. But if you stop what you're doing for what people want, supposedly, and they don't watch, Well, I just derailed my train for no reason whatsoever. You got a fan on your airbrush, I think you mean? Yeah, I get better every time I airbrush, but I'm not an airbrush expert. I'm a hand paint expert that figured out how to airbrush to save some time. Okay, I think now let's put this on here as a tester. Perfect. And of course, all this will be prime black, so. And we're not going to glue on this until the whole thing is painted. That way you don't have to like go really slow. Not that we're in a hurry, but there's no point in like backing yourself into a corner. Let's put this back down. Get a harder edge to push against this. Keep it down over there. I don't like it when these inanimate objects get all uppity. Okay. I hate buying spray paint here. Well, I don't know how it is in Europe, but here in the States, you gotta see a manager. You know, because they're like, kids that, they get high on it. Look, I've always worked around model supplies. Never occurred for me to get freaking high. Getting high gives you a freaking headache, and it's poison. Like, you want to get a high, go have a freaking beer or whatever. Go have some tequila, man. Perfect. Perfect. All right. What just fell down there back there? And I think that's what this is going to be. This is going to be a shop. This isn't necessarily the sign for the shop, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Because we can turn this into, we can cut off the edges here a little bit, taper this down, and this will be the footprint of a, big car shop or whatever. Not in a big hurry to do this, but I did save this. And this stuff, you could prime it and dry brush is great, Hope you like an Adobe finish, because that's what you're going to get. If you want to build a building that does... I remember you used to get these things. You get these packaging is. We're going to test your geographical knowledge. And you would get these things that would be perfect if you were going to make like buildings for like a pod race for Star Wars, or Mos Eisley, or like that big mosque they have in Timbuktu. You know which one I'm talking about. The one that has the wooden pieces through like the dowels through it. It'd be perfect for that, for something like that. And, so this stuff has been around. Reminds you of like, you do railroads. I don't know if they have this in Europe, but celluclay. Celluclay is like this powdery, it almost looks like if there was sheep around and you would shave the wool off of them, but the wool was made out of like paper mache. Celluclay, and you mix it with water and you get this paper mache product. They used to use it a long time ago. Well, they probably still make it. Here in the United States as an alternative to paper mache, to like, put on, like if you're making sceneries for like mountains or something like that, for like a railroad thing. And it doesn't weigh much, just like this. It doesn't weigh anything. It's just almost like wet dust. And it has that kind of finish. Or, you could do different kind of finishes to it, but celluclay. I don't know if they still make it. I suspect that they do. There's probably a lot of other different products like that. All right, so this is Marty's Motors and Machine Guns. Okay. I bet that's what it was. One of the nameplates fell off the back. Well, maybe it was something else because they're here. Okay, Circus Germanicus. Circus Germanicus. We're going to have to use one of these as well. Yes, they have that out there. I imagine they still make it. There's probably other things too. I mean, they were pushing that stuff hard. I don't really love it. Circus Germanicus with the Angry Fraulein. That's my German team. All my German cars have insulting names in German. I guess Hassenpfeffer really isn't an insulting name, but that's the Bugs Bunny reference. Where the hell is there? Here we go. But we're naming Hassenpfeffer something that is with a rabbit. It's a rabbit dish, rabbit stew. So it makes sense to you do that with a rabbit car. So. I guess we need a Der Sphincter. We need one of those as well. Some guy with a... They're all in German. All their names are in German. Just like all my Mexican cars have it. Well, the Mexican cars have either they're all in Spanish or they have a compound name and half of it is in Spanish. Boy, we're going to need a height advantage. You make bricks? Woo, in HO scale? I bought some of that stuff for HO scale bricks from, it's a German company. It doesn't sell to the public. And when I got them, I'm like, oh my God, they're too pink. And then I gave them a wash and they turned out stellar. I can't remember what the hell the name of the company is. But they're from Germany. I'd actually get them from Australia. They would not sell to the public. And they got some HO scale and 1/72 scale ones and mixed them up. And they turned out fabulous. That was one of those, man, I don't know how I'm going to do. But I made this mix of them along with like extra pieces of like wood and stained them all. I made like this mix with paint and water. It turned out really well. It was one of those things that, I wasn't sure how it turned out and I ended up kicking it out of the park. Where is my container of those things now that I'm thinking about it? I don't know where the hell it is. But anyways, I sprinkled it on. It turned out really, really well. See, I got pictures of it. I got pictures of it on my Facebook page. Photos. Yeah, it should be on photo. Way the hell down here. I don't need the airbrush to do World War II shit in camouflage. It's just like, well, okay, I already have the airbrush, so I might as well find other uses for it. Well, we're getting close. Yeah, we take a lot of pictures. Here it is. These are those bricks I was talking about, but turn out really well. Oh, son of a bitch. It takes me all the way back to the beginning. Oh, that's just mean. That's just me. I think I have it on a cover photo. Yeah, so I have these buildings from Queen's Hussars, a 1/72 scale. Because that's the whole thing. I'm running a war game. I want my war games to look like the stuff that you guys make in Britain. I know there's some people's stuff in Britain doesn't look very good, but I'm talking about the war game conventions. There's some freaking amazing stuff. So that's what I want to play. I want to play stuff that looks like freaking this. That's what I want to play. I don't want to play using felt and all that nonsense. You know. Here's my British tank. See, I'm not one of those people who's just like, oh, you only do American shit? No, I do everybody's stuff, including these guys. These are 1/72nd scale Shermans and M4A4s and Fireflies, and they all have names hand painted on them. That's what I really like to do. Hand paint names and shit on there. Acheron and Ardent and Arrogant and it's all A companies. They all have A names. Yeah, this is what I want to play. Well, you want to look stuff to look like that, you got to do it yourself. So, anyhow, where was I? Oh, sorry, I digress. Oh, we need to double check this before we cut it. Aha! Good thing I checked it because I dropped the line on the wrong one. This is what we're supposed to be cutting. I can't remember the name of that company. What is this? TL Model Blau, but no, that was the decals. That was the decals from Germany. They will sell to the public, but man, it's difficult to. The people in Britain want to sell things. Like they make it easy, relatively easy to sell things. Some of the other countries they just get to be a pain in the ass. Work tools are down. I guess since you're back, I will keep working on more ships. I made a great torpedo from a toothpick and some toilet paper. Unused toilet paper, hopefully. Otherwise, it'd be a brown torpedo. Torpedoes are one of those things that naval games and naval gamers always have an issue representing. Like if you know what the torpedoes are, then you know when to comb and all that nonsense. So let's see how we did. It's not bad. Got a little fat right here. Das ist gut. Okay. And since we're cutting, we might as well put the red next. Now this is the one that's going to be the really interesting stand because I'm going to put we'll call it a tree stand for like, but we're going to put a spot on there where they can shoot at passersby. That's kind of the thing that these people would do. All right. Now we'll get all this cutting out of the way. Okay. What the hell did I do? This way. Yeah, the naval game I played for a long time doesn't use torpedo counters. But the problem is if you're playing it, everybody knows that you dropped your fish. So, you know, they react. They react accordingly. Let's see which one of these two. Perfect. Measure twice, cut once. One of those sayings that doesn't make any sense until you fucked up. You're like, ah, that's what that means. Let's see how we did. It's gonna be close enough. Especially with a redneck sign. It can be all trash, but yep, that's how we build around here. Got a little fat here. I mean, they make devices to cut this stuff straighter. I don't need to buy them. It's been decades I've been doing this hobby, and I just now need to cut core foam core, whatever the hell this stuff's called. I think we're good. I think we're good with this. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the border on these two, and then we can move on to greener pastures. What game are you running with that? Are you making your own game rules, or you're doing? Sounds like you're doing stuff in like 1860s. You're doing World War One, but you're doing the Stonewall. Oh, the Stonewall was sold to Japan, wasn't it? Oh, that's right. It does. It was named Kasuga? Was it named Kasuga? Yeah, she was sold to Japan. I got an artist rendition of her if you want to see it in that Battleship book. That's the only reason I know. So I studied that stuff. I never knew when they were going to have a quiz on it, so I wanted to be up to date. Kasuga. It had a Japanese name. I mean, I know there's a heavy cruiser, armored cruiser named Kasuga. They had a Japanese cruiser named Kasuga all the time until World War II. Well, it might have actually been a depot ship at that point, but... She came out real late. She was almost like one of those king tires, like, you know, shows up when the war is lost. I was never understood. It's like, okay, well, you got the Alabama, which was a blockade runner. It was sunk in action off of fucking France. I'm like, the hell are you doing over there? So, well, you know, they're trying to bring things in, and they got intercepted on that side. Just painting minis for a World War One submarine board game for visualization. After you finish your World War One ships, I was thinking about doing the Boshin War next, and that's where the Stonewall comes in. Is that where they try to modernize Japan? Get Japan out of the samurai age and I'm not familiar with the the Boshin War. It's got to be what that is. The Last Samurai and all that. Like, turtle ships. I think they had turtle ships relatively late. I mean, I know they're Korean, but I'm pretty sure they had turtle ships after the whole Korea thing. You know, in 1598 or whatever it was. All right, so these two go here. All right, we still got this thing fired up. Is Dreadnought your favorite World War One ship? I told you I like Silence. There's some British ships I think are pretty cool. I like the Bellerophon and the St. Vincent's. I think those look pretty badass. Any of those just like, hey, let's put a mast. And they're like, oh, let's put a mast that's behind the first funnel. Like, like, oh, there's a design flaw. Why are you always moving your ships around backwards? Because we put the mast in front of we put the mast behind the first funnel. Yeah, it's that war. The fall of the Tokugawa shogunate. Not very many battles good for wargaming, but it's one of those conflicts I've always wanted to paint for. I'm not a fan of sailing ships because they tend to all look the same. I have to have these sail ships on there, but the other action is pretty cool. I know I was talking about the Dresden this morning. The Dresden was pretty freaking interesting. The other action is pretty cool is Emden, and I'm not talking about Emden when she got sunk. But Emden, because Emden was part of the East Asia squadron, and she broke off by herself. Like the rest of the squadron, stayed together and went out to Coronel with the Von Spee. But the Emden went and did commerce raiding in the Indian Ocean, and one of the places it actually raided was. Forget what the name of this base in Malaysia is. I want to say it's Palembang, but I probably don't have it wrong. But it goes into this base. You should read what happens. It's freaking insane. It's like I forget exactly which one it is, but it's in Malaysia somewhere. British controlled this port. It goes in like in the middle of the night. And there's like multinational group of ships there. There's like a Russian light cruiser and, you know, like I think the French destroyers, something like that. Anyways, it comes in basically point blank range, almost like a Narvik type thing. And like torpedoes this one, shoots this one up, goes in, wrecks a bunch of ships and then gets the hell out. And everybody's sitting there going like, what the hell just happened? You know, the Germans just have one light cruiser, but it's like, you know, catches everybody with their pants down. And, I want to say it's Palembang. But I don't know. That's one of those places that you change names and... Palembang is too far on the inside. It's not that one. Anyways, it's a port in It's super interesting. Emden, sneak attack, World War One. Penang, Penang, not Palembang, Penang. Yeah, look at battle involved German light cruiser in Penang Strait, which sank two Allied warships as part of its commerce raiding operations throughout the Indian Ocean. During the battle, a total of 135 French and 157 Russian sailors were killed. 135 French and Russian sailors were killed, and 157 others were wounded. The Germans suffered no casualties. Yeah, look at this. They have a little map here. Super interesting. Like a one end did a 90. Yeah, Gentchug. That Gentchug is I almost said Soviet, a Russian light cruiser. Oh, this is a map from the 1914 New York Times. Yeah, interesting stuff. Japanese have a very early proto aircraft carrier that uses sea boats that unloads and then they take off from the water. That's one I like. Oh, don't have a favorite World War One ship. Mostly like the subs. British had a sub with a battleship gun that I like. That's the M8, I believe. I believe it's the M8. It's got a pair of 8-inch guns, if I remember correctly. Or I'm thinking of Surcouf, which is a French one. M8 submarine. It's still M8 submarine. No, I don't know why I know that. I could be wrong. World War One, British sub, big gun. M1 were the most notable one. Submersible monitors. Yeah, that's fucking badass. That is badass. It has a 12-inch gun. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I bet the M8 was one of them. It must be in one of the books. I don't just want to make that shit up. Yeah, Surcouf had a. I want to say had a turret. I want to say Surcouf had a turret, but that was World War Two, and she had a pair of eights. Yeah. Well, the thing about submarines is I know lots of people use the submarines. It wasn't the Germans, but submarines are kind of like flamethrowers. I just attribute it to like if anybody's going to get them, it's going to be the Germans, and it's just maybe I understand that other people used them. It's really weird to see something like they make figures for like Japanese guys with World War II guys with flamethrowers. Like, when the fuck did those guys use a flamethrower? Because you think flamethrower Germans. And I know the Marines probably used them more than the Germans did, but that's the word association is. It's like the Germans get them. Same thing with subs. Lots of people use subs other than the Germans. I mean, I think the British used subs more in the First World War than some, but that's not true. They had a lot of submarines. They used some submarines and to supply Malta with supplies. I don't know how many supplies you can get on a submarine. Not many, but they ran the gauntlet of trying to, and they did. They got into Malta and delivered supplies. So, but when I think of subs, I think U-boats, and I think the Germans. Now, funny thing about Germans is is World War One Germans. It's amazing, and people don't know this. I didn't know this. The World War One Germans sank a shitload of ships in the First World War. They sank more in the Second, but it's not by as much as you think. It's like, and I'm just going to pull numbers out of the air here. You know, if they sank like 18 million tons in the Second, and I don't know what it is. It's like, if they sank 18 million tons in the Second World War, they sank 14 in the First. I mean, it's like impressive. But you think, okay, a World War I submarine, how do you stop it? Well, they really don't dive very deep. Ramming it, like the HMS Dreadnought, not much you can do. If they had depth charges, they wouldn't have them until 1917, 1918. You know? I don't know if they had depth charges in World War One. I suspect they probably did, but you know, submarines don't dive as deep as people think they do. Now, the ones that dove really the deepest really were the German World War II submarines. But still, they could only dive like, to put it in terms that could be understood, 3 times their length. So if the ship is this long, put it on end, that's 3 times that. That's like as deep as they usually went. They don't go that deep. And the World War One guy is just like, you know, it's a submersible boat. Like, it's a boat that can submerge, and that's about it. All right, we're going to put that on there. World War One, they didn't use a lot of torpedoes either. They had depth charges towards the end of the war. Yeah, I don't know how you stop a submarine other than ram it. I mean, it had a really limited amount of time it could spend underwater. I don't know that they had sonar. I just honestly don't know. Really, what did the submarines in was the convoy system. Like putting all your eggs in one basket. You know, and it took longer to deliver things, but I think it's this convoy system that did them in. I mean, I'm not an expert. Not on that. One thing I don't like about World War One is I would never paint my German destroyers all black. I know they did it. I just like I could paint them maybe really dark, but I'm not painting them black. It just doesn't look right. Now, how the hell you paint the funnels if they're supposed to be darker? What's darker than black? It isn't. You're done. Like, you've used all your tools. Okay, this one looks like we actually are going to have to cut it down a little bit. That's fine. It's not much. It's not much. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and do that now. Where's my scissors at? Probably easier to do it with that. Well, they should be there, but they're not. I think this is the one you said you really liked a lot. I didn't do hardly any tinkering to it. All right, and Circus Germanicus. Yeah, ramming, especially since U-boats dive so slow, that's sonar at the end of the war as well. Yeah. Well, one of the things, I don't know if you noticed, a little bit of trivia here. Austria-Hungary, remember those guys? The guy who was based on real life, the guy in Sound of Music, the Baron von Trapp was a Austro-Hungarian submarine ace. I had like, I don't know, 8 ships sunk or something like that. I don't think it was a huge amount. It might have been better than that, but he was a U-boat ace of the First World War. Whatever type U-boats the Austro-Hungarians used, I have no idea. Probably similar to German designs. I can only imagine, but he had a few sunken ships to his name. He had more than 5, or he wouldn't be an ace. Now at bench, going to start editing the vlog. What's the name of your channel, man? We'll get you some exposure. I just started doing this to keep myself on track. It's definitely made a difference on how much stuff I get done. I said, if people watch it, cool. If they don't, well, I mean, some people have to watch it. Otherwise, it'd be like pretty apparent. Like, okay, I'm, nobody is. Like, you know this, but most people don't know. We can't tell. We can supposedly tell how many people are watching it, but we don't know who the hell they are. They could be bots. They could be, Jeremy would send them either small ones and pieces reassembled on the larger ones sealed directly there. It's so funny they became allies, and 70 years before they fought a war against them. Well, at least Prussia did, which is technically still, it's the World War I Germany. All the guys in charge of Prussia are There's an interesting video out on YouTube by this guy that I've mentioned before, who is a history podcaster named Carlin. I'm trying to think what his name is. No, it's not George Carlin, but George Carlin's a lot funnier. I can't remember what it is. Hardcore History, and he has this 30-minute long video. It's on YouTube. It's got no pictures on it or whatever, and the subject of it is really interesting. And it's basically the subject line is, or the topic is, who had a better military, the World War I Germans or this World War II Germans? And it's really interesting. It's definitely worth a listen. Dan Carlin, and it's really interesting. Definitely worth your time, I think. Yeah, he's really. I only have one complaint about him, and you really shouldn't complain about somebody that does something for free. But he's a historian by hobby, the way I am too. I'm not a historian. I'm just interested in history, and I'm not even interested in all history. I'm only interested in the history I'm interested in. But he's a broadcast guy by trade. And sometimes before he gets an episode fired up, he speaks in all this artsy shit, right? I call it artsy crap. You know, he dances around the top. I'd like to think I don't do that. He's more educated than I am, but I just don't. You know, I just get to the point. Hopefully, I don't use the artsy terminology and shit like that. But once he gets fired up, it's good, and he has a lot of energy. He's certainly not boring to listen to, and I generally like his content. But that particular episode is pretty interesting. And he's pretty down to earth in the language that he uses. Not too simple, but not too academic. You know, like my wife likes to say, you know, I read because I want to learn shit. Whereas some people read to be entertained. Well, you could be both. But yeah, that's why I don't do fiction. Like, I want to learn about real shit. Like, there's enough really interesting things that really happened. So tell me the story as best as you think it happened. You use Clip Chip to edit. Got a game PC with 3 screens. I have very limited space on my computer. My computer is, you know, it's not a piece of shit, but it is 5 years old. But it's very. I have 256 gigs memory. That's it. So I struggle with that. I haven't gotten an upgrade just because it's just too expensive. I don't really want to spend the money on it. I don't think I'm gonna get my money's worth out of it. But so, you know, it's powerful. It was better than my phone when I had a phone at the time. But yeah, it's just easier just to edit everything on a phone. But it's because of that KineMaster. I watched one of those videos. Hey, best video software, and he recommended KineMaster, and I've been using it for many years now. But I ran into that issue a couple of months ago, or maybe even a month ago, where they were demonetizing my videos because I was using software. I was using music that was not allowed to be monetized. I'm like, listen, I specifically was using music that was on the KineMaster app to be monetized. And then, I was like, man, I'm going to have to stop making videos. I don't want to make these videos. And, my videos aren't really elaborate. Not because I can't do it. I just choose not to. If I'm spending all that time making really elaborate videos, I can't do any of this. And there's always going to be people that are really good at videos. I don't care if I'm not good at them. We want to paint shit well. I'm not a builder, guys. Wait till we get the painting shit done. I'm really happy on my painting skills. So that's really what I focus on. I can't, do everything. And I'm okay with that. But man, it gets to the point where, I don't want to, I spent some time putting them together with sound, to kind of, for the ambiance or whatever, for whatever reasons, it's fun to look at. And then to have that being undone by a bot is really frustrating. But, what I needed to do is, even though I had, these were videos that were like 6 years old, I needed to register my YouTube channel as to that app so that it would know that if it's, I don't know, it's just bureaucracy bullshit, right? So luckily I only had 3 videos that I had to take the music off, and I can't put the music back on because I don't save those videos. I mean, I don't have all the space in the world to go and harm. I mean, I make the video, I post it, I move on, I delete them. I need space to, make other videos. You're in tech and you built your PC yourself. Well, there you go. You're into that. I can't, I can't keep up with the tech. They change the technology too much. Like, I don't read manuals on phones and stuff like that. By the time you read it, like, there's new technology. What you learned is useless. They've moved on, like. Okay, somehow this is the worst one of all of them, and it's the last one I did. Interestingly enough, I think what it is the bottom of this side is kind of like, the important thing is it doesn't really matter because these need to be haphazard looking anyways. So we're gonna roll with it and not give a shit. All right, we're gonna do the red next first. All right, so based on what we've learned, we're going to make our own pieces of wood for the back. I didn't buy any of these sides. I still have a gazillion. Let's not put that. I may end up accidentally running over that. Let's look for a thin. I think I still have a gazillion. Well, I could go to a thicker size. But let's use all the thin one first. So here's thin. We're not going to be basing any ships anytime soon on these. Like I said, I would use tongue depressors if I did it now. Keep the rounded stuff to the front. Here's more. Here's another one. Here's another one that's not as wide. These will work too, but the thinner ones I have less of a use for. And I don't know why I have these that are thinner. I probably made a mistake and bought them. And like, here's a small piece. Here's another one. There's another one. Okay. I thought I was relatively computer savvy, but the technology just changes too fast. It just changes so fast you can't enjoy it. Now, you probably do, like I said, you probably do it for a living, so you're probably in tune with it more, but every time I buy a new computer, I'm like, I basically have to start from square zero. Like, I didn't have a computer from 2012 to 2020. And in that time period, the cloud stuff just exploded. So I still, I'm distrustful of cloud shit. Like, I want to, like, I'm not good on the virtual arts or whatever. So, and it's annoying. You'll do stuff on the computer and, I use a computer every day for work. And I'm a big fan of Excel, even though like anybody else, we only use a really small percentage of the power that it can do. I'm going to split this in half, or half-ish. But it'll do funny. It'll do stuff that you're wondering, like, why did you change this? Like, it's doing this thing now where I go and check email, and it can't find something because I don't delete anything, and I don't put them in folders either because there's some stuff that oh fuck, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about work. Fuck that. Never mind. We're good. But you're used to things working a certain way, and somehow it's doing something different, and it can't find emails because, well, let me search your whole computer instead. I'm like, that's what you were doing before. What changed? There's stuff that just happens all of a sudden, and he just gets frustrated. It's like, dude, this worked yesterday. How come it doesn't work now? Like, there's this particular program that I use that involves, hours of employees, and I got some people that work for me, and you have to verify their hours and stuff, and they needed this all of a sudden you got to do double authentication, which there's two things I am really bad at. One of them is shuffling cards. I absolutely detest shuffling cards. I've watched videos on how to do it. I am handicapped when it comes to shuffling cards. I'm no good at that. And the other thing I'm really bad at is remembering passwords. I hate that. Just ask my wife. I hate remembering passwords. And, all of a sudden this double authentication. Well, I'm not going to remember that shit. And it's like, send something to your phone and you got to remember what the hell it is. And all of a sudden, like 6 years ago, you had to do like a double authentication every time you sign into this thing. Fucking pain in the ass, right? And then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, it stopped. Like all of a sudden, I enter my password that the computer remembers, and I'm in. It doesn't have to like send a text to my phone. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe somebody, up the chain of command decided to change it, but I'm glad because that was a pain in the ass. One thing I hate about computers is that thing called, yeah, I get this computer and I'm like, what the hell is this OneDrive? Like, what the fuck is this OneDrive? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I didn't follow it. I'm not stupid, but nobody told me what it was. And then, sometimes it automatically wants to save something and put it in the OneDrive and you don't have one or you do, or, it's like, give me Windows 98, damn it. Windows 98 didn't have any of that shit. Windows 98 didn't have the Windows for Dummies, as I call it. You go to your screen, you go to the bottom left and everything was there, right, on your settings. And I knew my ins and out of that. Now they got this Windows for Dummies. And I'm afraid of screwing with it and then not having something work. Like I refuse to do the Windows 11 upgrade. I'm not going to do it. I mean, unless it just flat out won't work one day and I have to do it. But I have what I call an experience with a 64-bit apocalypse. Back in that time period when I did not have a computer, we had an iPad. I don't remember how we got one. I think it was given to us or somebody didn't have one and we got it somehow. Somehow we got an iPad. The only time I've ever used an Apple product and been relatively comfortable with it. So I got an iPad back then, and they make some games that I think are worth playing, war games, on the iPad. So I decided to get a few, and then there was this upgrade. Hey, do you want to upgrade or whatever? Okay, and I didn't know, it wasn't explained to me. It was that it was upgrade everything from 32-bit to 64-bit, and rendered everything useless that they had not upgraded to 64-bit. And these games I had bought for it, they decided not to upgrade to 34-bit, so I was like, I was fucked. And ever since that happened, you only get to fuck me one time, and I remember. And I've never forgotten that. And I'll be damned if I'm going to do an upgrade, because the last thing I need is not be able to do my program. Like, I really pretty much just use it to, on the laptop, and that's what we're doing here. And if that doesn't start working one day, I'm going to be extremely frustrated, and I don't want frustration to come into my hobby. I'm like dead end again. I'm dead set against it. Like, this is my relief from frustration. I have a very frustrating job that there's nothing I can do about. Try to do the best you can. I don't need to bring that negativity, the BS home, If your hobby makes you mad or frustrated, you need another hobby. Like, I know people that play war games and they are just fucking bitter all the time. I don't want to have anything to do with those people. Right? This is my happy place. So I don't like. So I'm really careful. Like, I don't like to surf with my computer. I did get a virus one time. I got an annoying redirect virus. Didn't do anything other than make my experience on the computer like hating it, all the time. So I'm like, well, I'm just real careful about that. I'll surf on the phone. I haven't had a bad experience on the phone yet. Just wait and see till these complicated programs start using AI and you can just tell to do stuff like you do with your images. Well, dude, it needs to go do my job so I can build this shit. This is what I need to do, man. And this doesn't pay fuck, so. It was a great stream. Have a great day going. You need to chill out. See you next time. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by again. You never did tell me what the name of your railroad is. You might not be creating one. I think it'd be really difficult to decide I'm going to do Norfolk and Southern or whatever the heck. That'd be. But I've liked filming stuff. I like filming our games when we play games. I don't like writing shit down. And here's the example. You probably know about this. Hoffman, that I have a WordPress site. Well, I had a Blogger site, and that is just the work of the devil. Fighting with that thing when I was doing DVA and putting the image and I want here, and it would like change it for you, and you didn't want, just fighting with it. Like, I hated that. Not user friendly. I found out WordPress. WordPress is user friendly. But I get no feedback on there by anybody. I don't know if people are enjoying the content, if they're even watching it. I don't enjoy writing the stuff down. I would rather make a video like I did about, I think I did like the 3 different DBA armies, which I'm actually not opposed to making videos of my armies I built for DBA. It's not like I hate DBA, like, Phil Barker's the Antichrist. It has nothing to do with that. I don't have anything bad to say about him at all. It's just that, it just got to be too much. It just got to be too much. I don't poo-poo the people that play DBA that are still in my group. And Mitch is smart enough not to ask me to play again. Some people don't get it. They don't understand that. What do you mean you're never going to play again? Well, I'm not a politician. Like, I stand behind what I say. Like, I'm not going to fucking do it. As a matter of fact, I found out that they're actually kind of working on a DBA 4.0, and I'm like, okay, well, you guys going to call it something different? No, it's probably still going to be called DBA. I'm like, well, I guess I won't be playing it. No big deal. If I'm doing it, I can't do all this stuff too. So, some guy was like, just posted a response to one of my, I made a post on Fanatic. It's probably the first time in a year. One guy was like, yeah, it's a shame you don't do DBA videos anymore. No, what's a shame is that I made hundreds of them and nobody had the inclination or huevos to make some to take over. Like, it's easy to do. Even somebody who's retarded about making videos, me, can make them. Like, it's relatively user friendly. It just takes, effort. And the only reason I'm not doing DBA videos is I don't play DBA anymore, Okay, how are we going to split this thing? Let's take this one and split this one in half too. Now, it'd be a shame if I took them down, but like nobody has I could, man, if Tony can do it, I could do it. Right? That's how I got me into doing YouTube videos. I saw somebody doing YouTube videos, and I'm like, well, this is relatively simple. Like, I could handle doing this. And I like to talk about my hobby. Let me give it a shot, and the rest is history. It's not that it's easy when the technology behaves. When a program is supposed to do this and it actually does it. And I don't hate technology, but I said this the other day, and I actually had somebody that walked in my office and clapped. They were overhearing what I said. I said, technology should make your life easier. If it doesn't, there's something wrong with that freaking problem. Okay? Technology should make your life easier. Not like, oh, you have this technology, it does this, but now you have to babysit this too, and it's being a little bitch too. I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. Technology should make your life easier. If not, it should not have been invented. And I had my first bad experience with technology in college where I was using CAD, and it was my final exam. It was actually the first time it was ever offered in college, at this college I was in. And it was literally a case of the computer ate my homework. I lost everything. And I failed that class and I had to retake it. And I aced it the second time around, But it was like, if something happens and this goes sideways, it doesn't all of a sudden poof and disappear, and any proof that I had of doing this is gone with it. No, we have it on video. I got experience being able to do it. Like that's I can handle this. I can't handle the, oh yeah, you made this program and you've been working on it 4 hours and something crashed and you have nothing to show for it. Like, I don't have the personality for that. Just like some people, I don't know how you have the personality to paint the Nuln oil and all the little lines on the tank. I said, we can do that all day long. I don't have the personality to all of a sudden, like, I lose everything. Like, no, I'm going to take it out on somebody. I don't have the personality for that. So I do not need to be in tech, because I'm going to kick the computer, throw it across this, it brings out violence in me. Vendetta. We're all made differently. And I might be really good at stuff that people are really bad at, and vice versa. I'm not great at everything, not even close. I'm pretty good. Actually, I'm really good at, like, color matching. Like, I think there's only one time, I think, of all the figures I've ever painted that I had to go back and repaint them because it didn't turn out well. It was a commander. Which army was it? It was the commander of the Nanchow. I had painted his shirt one color and it just didn't go well. So that's why that was kind of the experience where I coined my term where I said, paint what you know. Like, okay, for whatever reason, maybe you want them to have green pants, so paint the fucking pants green. So as you go, you kind of figure out things are going to go. Not like trying to figure everything out from the beginning. So if like you can't figure out what color you're going to make his shirt, but you want his pants a certain color, so paint the pants that color. Move on. Paint what you know. I can only think of one time, that example, where I've had to repaint something. I'm not opposed to repainting stuff, but it's like, it's nice to, it's just experience. I'm not scared of nothing when it comes to, painting things. I've kicked it out of the park so many times. And it's really, if I didn't, it's easy to fix. It's not like it's permanent, like, you lost everything, like, I don't do well in those situations. You all have different strengths and weaknesses. I know some people that they can't stand losing in a game. I said, why? Does your life suck so much that you have to win every game? Maybe you shouldn't. You should never play against people you mind losing to, because odds are there's a good chance you're probably going to lose the game. So don't play with people that make your life miserable, or they're insufferable to play with. I know two people that I can think of, and they're both DVA players, that were playing with a certain group of people, and they were miserable. And then they started playing with us, and it's like this huge weight was lifted off of them. I said, well, you're playing with people that are win at all cost players, and they're not willing to share any secrets of the game to make you more competitive. And my philosophy's always been like, look, I want to teach you to be better so that I'm more challenged, so when I'm playing in a tournament, it's second nature to me. Or it's more second nature to me. And besides, like, who wants to play when they don't think they have a close to 50-50 chance of winning? Like, I don't want people just to show up and like, I know I'm going to play against so-and-so, and I know I'm going to beat them. What's the point? What's the point in them playing me and I playing them and I'm playing them also, It's like, I know I'm going to win. Why bother even playing? What's the sense in that? Okay, this is the one. This one doesn't go all the way, but we can make this and just splice it on the other end. You know, I was talking about one of the battles that I forget when we mentioned it recently. Might have been in person with somebody. You know, there was a certain tournament that a certain player was playing, and they were playing an army that was. I'm neither one of the two people, just so you know. But it was an army that was like all like troops that needed to be in bad going. And they were fighting somebody that was all mounted. And the person that was all the bad going guy basically turned the entire board into a forest. And then they started playing the game and ended up drawing the game because they were fighting in a forest, and the guy with the mounted wasn't going to go in the forest to fight. Like, you gotta give a little to get a little, right? You can't turn it all one way, because they're just gonna one side's just gonna turtle up. Let's do this in 3. So if you want to draw a bunch of games, that's how you do it. If you want to have a good game, you got to give a little to get a little. I'm not saying, okay, well, I got to make the thing barren. No, put like little groups with anchor points and stuff. You got to make it look like he thinks he's got a chance. And then show him otherwise. You can't just like, well, I'm just going to create this marsh and he's just going to have to go in there with knights. No, he's going to sit in the corner and you draw the game. What's the point in that? Some people don't get that. Like, put yourself in their shoes. What would you do? But I'm not promoting this game as much as I did DBA, because at the end of the day, I don't give a shit how people play this game. We're gonna play Gaslands, or whatever you want to call this, to our way. And if that's not how it is in the rulebook, I'm not saying we're actively looking to change things, but just like any other rule set, there's things that aren't covered. There's situations that come up that you just don't know how you're going to handle it. So, we're all semi-intelligent human beings. We'll figure it out. And if later we find out that's not how you play it, or we don't agree with how it's played, we're not going to play it that way. So I don't really want to leave it open to, discussion on some message board that, we're playing it a different way. Because I really don't care how other people are playing. I'm not trying to change the world. I don't care. We got to make sure everybody goes to heaven. I don't care. I don't need to share paradise with anybody. I don't care how you do it. And there's just too many people online that like to argue or prove that you're wrong, and I'm not interested in being judged. So I'll promote games through this channel, but I'm not going to post discussions about them on Facebook or a Fanaticus type site or something like that. Because that's probably the most frustrating thing for me is starting to why am I really frustrated playing as DBA? Well, you're putting all this effort to do things right, and invariably you get things wrong. And then people that just read the rule book and have never played and don't have any experience like coming up with reasons, these nerd burglars with a rule book want to prove you wrong. And I'm sorry, the opinion of somebody who's played 3 games is not the same as the experience of somebody who's been playing for decades. And I'm not, it has to be taken into consideration. And the internet just gives everybody the same voice, regardless of if they're being nefarious or don't know what the hell you're talking about. Which you see that all the time. People will get into these, and it could be, I've seen it specifically all the time in some of the game groups that I'm in. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They run their mouth about it. They're, they're proven wrong, and they, what I would do is I would take my posts down. You guys can take posts down after you post them, right? So you don't send people down the path into, into a hole, right? Where everybody else that wants some consistency needs to correct everybody. No, these people don't take this erroneous, ill-thought post down and then just keep sending people down a rabbit hole. And one example I'll say is on this group that's about worships, actually. And there was this post about, I don't know if you're still listening, Hoffman, but it's World War I related, so maybe you could go relate to it. But it was this post about, it was either the anniversary or something about SMS Scharnhorst, right? The World War I Scharnhorst that was at Battle of Cornell. It was, I believe that was von Spae's flagship. I believe he was on the Scharnhorst, not the Gneisenau. But anyway, so he's did the whole Battle of Cornell and Battle of Falkland Islands and all this kind of stuff, right? And it was a post about that, and somebody came in and said something like, "Yeah, I don't like that ship because my grandfather was on it, and he was on the Glorious, and it sunk the Glorious." And that's okay. That's the World War II Scharnhorst, right? So somebody didn't read the article, jumped to conclusions, right? And all of a sudden, there's 3 or 4 more responses in response to the person that was talking about the World War II one, that you could tell that it confused them and sent them down a rabbit hole. And after several people corrected him and said, no, that's the World War II one. Like, the guy didn't take his post down. So you have wrong information there, and you're sending people to hell. People are going to, you got shit wrong, hell. And it's like, I can't take it. And that's what was happening. That's what I saw happening all the time in our DBA videos. Is you would get people that wouldn't, not everybody, occasionally we would get stuff wrong. It's like, okay, cool, we'll try to get it wrong the same day, right the same day. But people would be arguing about Zoc. That's not how you do Zoc. I said, well, okay, well, we brought it up to, this is what the rules say, and we brought it up to the fact group, and they were just like, I don't care if people are playing things wrong. What I don't like is people were doing it right, and this guy that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about is changing how everybody's doing stuff. Creating issues down the road, because we may encounter some of these other people at a convention, and then all of a sudden you're giving us a headache. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this shit anymore. That was probably the biggest reason I stopped playing DBA. That was probably the biggest reason. Not because the game isn't great. The game is, there's nothing wrong with the rules. They're not put together the way that a normal human being would put the rules together. A mortal would do them, and it just opens it up to some people that just want to, fucking argue about shit. And you've never played the game. There's one guy on there that posts on Fanaticus. I think he still posts on Fanaticus. I don't think he's ever played the game the way it's intended. And I don't know whether it's, one of these people that they have this idea. It's like, well, I need to generate dialogue, even if it's creates controversy. And I'm just not one of those people. I don't like to argue about shit, What's your favorite color? Green. Well, mine's pink. Why the hell's yours green? I don't give a shit what people's color is, Don't get in my shit, I won't get in yours. I don't tell people what to do. Get the hell off my porch, But, I wasn't aware, and you probably know this because you're in technology and all that stuff more than I am, but there is a tactic to put wrong fucking shit on a Facebook post to get exposure. And I'm like, okay, all exposure is not good. I don't want bad exposure. I don't want stuff that makes me look like a moron or, a nefarious individual or something like that. And it's like, I don't want all attention. Well, attention's attention. No, it's not. So yeah, there's posts that specifically put things that are absolutely wrong on them just to get engagement. And I'm like, that's against my core being. I'm just not that way. Having a pain of a time with this Nottingham. Four stack or cruiser, right? Nottingham, Southampton, Nottingham. I think that's one of the ones that has. I'm not real up on my World War One ships, but I believe that's one of the cruisers that has a bunch of 6-inch guns instead of having two sixes and then a bunch of fours. Yeah, rage baiting. Fuck that, man. Life's too short, man. Those people deserve to get cancer. It's just like, there's enough problems in the world. We don't need to like create issues with our hobby. It's a four stack, yeah, yeah. I think that's what's the issue with it? Having a fat finger issue? You know what that means. So I just, you don't get to ruin my hobby. So, my philosophy is, and I saw this, okay, if they come up with let's say they come up with another DBA, and not called DBA, and I feel like I want to play it. First thing is, I'll make videos. I'll make videos with Mitch. We'll probably both enjoy playing it. I'm not going to play it at a con. I'll still make videos of it, but I'm not going to put them on the DBA site because that opens up to, well, you did that shit wrong. I don't give a fuck how you do it. This is how we're going to do it. We read the rule book, and this is the best we could do. And if you don't like it, don't watch our videos. I don't want to be ugly, but, I don't want the negativity. There's lots of stuff that I see on the internet that I don't like, and I don't feel like, well, I gotta make my point known. Like, dude, like, live and let live. It's not like we're playing the game. We'll apply it differently if it's Mitch's ship, and if it's Mitch's thing, and if it's mine, it's different. Like, no, you need to be consistent, and have your heart in the right place. Yeah, you name it. Fat finger, small holes, crooked mast, glue on your fingers. Yeah, it happens to all of us. I hate super glue. It's so damn unforgiving. You'll put some down, it's like, man, it's not gluing, it's not gluing, it's not gluing. Fuck, it glued in the wrong place. Damn it, move it. It is just evil. It is just evil. I say that weld cement, when I went from the 15 millimeter figures to doing weld cement with the models, it's like, oh my God, it's just so like zen. Incredibly zen difference. Man, I feel like this is taking longer than it was this morning. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I gotta check on a lady friend. What, your wife can't be a lady friend? I'll be right back. I'll make sure she doesn't need nothing. I'll be right back. fat fingers. The only ships that I've had a fit, and I definitely would say a fit to put together. At the time, I know I'd do a much better job now. Was those GHQ 12400 scale sailing ships. I made up new cuss words for those sons of bitches. I did the threading. I mean, just a nightmare of stuff. I definitely could handle it better now, but like, you know, a friend of mine was coming up with rules for this game. He was like all into like sailing ships and shit like that. And I was like, all right, I'll buy one. And I bought a 74 gun ship of the line. Painted it with a layering technique. Looked great. HMS Superb. We're going to play on Sunday morning. I stayed up all night Saturday doing that. I worked on like 20 fucking hours or something like that. Go and play the game. I hate the fucking game. Like, okay, I'm going to mark your orders. Okay, I think I'm going to be here. I end up somewhere totally different. You know, I'm like, I hate this fucking game. Never played it again. Never use that ship again. I think I threw it away. I don't know where it is. It's definitely damaged because the mast fell off of it. Had the rigging and stuff. Like, I ain't doing that shit again. They all look the same. I mean, obviously, a frigate doesn't look the same as a ship of the line. But a ship of the line for the French looks exactly like a ship of the line for the British. Or the portholes are a different color. Okay, the same fucking thing. Most of it is like unpainted wooden colored. Like, no. It's not different enough. Alright. Let's split this in half. Ish. Let's split it in 2/3, 1/3. Something like that. And those things were, well, they're real. GHQ's cost is just so expensive. So expensive. And they actually had, I swear I'm not making this up. When they had the protest 4 years ago or whatever, you know, the which protest in Minneapolis? And Minneapolis is like a hotbed of protest. There must not even be anything to fucking do up there. One of the fires, I swear I'm not making this up. One of the fires, I believe, burned part. They had to shut down some of the operations because of a fire. And I don't think it was a fire that was like, you know, something happened electrically and they had a fire. I think it was a riot fire. I swear I'm not making this up. I don't want to live anywhere where there's riots and shit like that. Like, nope. No, thank you. Of course, I live in a place where there was rioters who'd end up shooting all the rioters, but that's beside the point. You can't get away with nothing in this neighborhood. You got old people that are like, this is like Gladys Kravitz land, you know? Like, I saw you out there doing something you weren't supposed to be doing, you know. Nosy old people. Come home for lunch from work. Like everybody's home. Like a bunch of retiree mother, you know. I'm pretty sure that was the case. I don't think I made that up. I mean, they make great products. I was a big fan of it. They don't make anything now that I don't do that scale anymore. I don't do 1/2400. I remember battleships used to be 550. Now they're probably $20 now. Fridley, right? That's where they are. Fridley, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. The land of unrest. There must be nothing to do up there other than cause problems and cause unrest. Let's see if we can get away with doing this, or I just made a huge mistake. Go, 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 go. George Floyd. That's what his name was. Yeah, I think that's when they yeah, I don't make this shit up. Let's see. I bet let's see. GHQ miniatures fire. Okay. GHQ miniatures plant fire. There we go. Okay, GHQ miniatures shut down because of fire. Shut down. Shut down due to fire. I know I didn't make this up. Oh well, they're back in business. Yeah, I was a big fan of them. Well, when they made stuff in scales that I did. And I liked micro armor. I just don't like the infantry. It's like a little too like they're too small in that scale. Little ants. The problem with them being too small is not that they're too small to paint. It's too small to give a shit about them. It's like I want to play a game where infantry don't matter. Everything's important. It'd be like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna play a I'm gonna play DVA, but the skirmishers don't matter. Which I understand that they're renaming in future versions of DVA. Skirmishers will be called skirmishers. Aha! Well, there's a huge change. There's an appropriate change. I remember when I was doing some DVA videos, one guy from Greece came by, and he said, well, you shouldn't call them that. When I call them, I don't want to use that terminology anymore. It's annoying. You need to call them Sealy. I said, if I called them Sealy, nobody would know what I was talking about, including myself. So I cannot call them Sealy. Nobody would know what I'm talking about. I don't doubt that's the correct way to say it, but he's probably annoyed that everybody's calling his word wrong. I get it. I totally can relate. I totally can relate. I totally can relate when you pronounce something a wrong freaking way and it drives you bananas. I have problems like that. I have experiences like that. My big pet peeve is when they refer to that Spanish general as Gonzalvo. His name ain't fucking Gonzalvo, okay? It's Gonzalo. And it's not even a hard name. It's not like it's some weird thing to mispronounce or something like that. It's like you're going out of your way to call him the wrong fucking name. I said, well, in Italian, he says, well, he's an Italian. Drives me bananas. Don't fuck with my people. Oh man. I think we can do this one. Is there any of this that are this big? No. I think we need to do this one and kind of cut it in half. All right. Whoop. I'll be back. This one's gonna go there. That one's gonna go there. That one's gonna go there. We'll leave that one all the way across. How many songs I got left to do? Signs. How many signs I got left to do? Completely or in parts. So, this one's not complete. This one's not completely done. The one for the Asian persuasion, but we're gonna put some reinforcement on it. I got the Marty one. I got 7 or 8. Really only. I mean, this one's done, even though it's not done. It doesn't have the goop on it, but it's done. Other than that, so I got 2 pretty much completely done. 4 or 5. Seemed like this was taking forever. This is going to give well-needed ambiance to the game, though, I think. So just wait till these things are painted. Because they look pretty cool now. When they're painted, they're going to look great. We're going to paint them one at a time, but we're going to prime them all together. I hate priming. It's so necessary. If you do it right, you don't have to do it again. If you do a shitty job at it, you won't want to do it again. You won't want to make any more. So I say, you can't do this for people. You can't sell this. Like, what kind of price would you even put on something like this? Like, I don't want to sell it. Like, I need it to run my game. You know? I think you sold one of these. I mean, what the hell would you sell it for? Like, shit, I wouldn't sell it for less than $50. But, like, who the fuck would pay, say, $50 for this? Okay, but, I'm not going to sell it for fucking 20. Like, I'd be doing... If I knew I was going to make this for somebody else and not use it in the game, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this today. But if it's something like, so I said people don't know what to make out of it when I tell them. I say, I don't paint. I don't do my hobby for cost, but I'll give things that I do for free. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, so here's the reason. I may want to paint something for somebody because it might involve like learning a new skill while doing it, right? Well, learning a new skill, that's for me, right? So I don't mind doing the, but you don't get to ask. You don't get to ask, will you do this for me? No, it doesn't work that way. You have to just like, get lucky that I want to do something like that. And I need this stuff for for the games to run something in the game. I would have never done the back like this. Never. If it hadn't been for that guy's video. Well, that's what makes the internet great. We can all learn from each other. I mean, that's what makes the internet great. There's lots of things that make it a shit show. We don't all have to invent the wheel. Just don't be a turd. Try to take credit for it. I guess I should tell you what that guy's... I don't know what his name is, so... Guy's from Australia. So, just gotta look it up on video. So just look it up as making Gaslands billboards. I believe that's what the search is. Oh, there's other people that do stuff like that. Well, this guy in particular. His name is RFD Hobby. This 27,000 views. Good. Good. It looks freaking great. Yeah, his bases were deeper. I just wanted to use the tongue depressors that I had. And I don't want to spend a lot of time detailing the dirt. It's not about the dirt, it's about the sign. So and I'm gonna Let's split this one in half. That'll be my sign to split it. You know, he was like, I think he said, oh, thanks my Patreon. I was like, I'm not doing a Patreon. It's just, I don't want to know what the tax implications are, you know. That's too complicated. Besides, I don't want to take money from you guys. I don't mind taking it from Google. Take Google's money. Take all their fucking money. They got plenty of it from advertising. I don't hate them. They just have plenty of money. The rest of us, we don't have enough money. Especially not in the last 6 years. Our money went to shit. I want to figure out how to do that. Patreon. Now the YouTube video is a little bit different. Like they're going to make money on me by advertising, whether I get any of it at all. Well, I might as well get some of it, so I can pass it on and buy stuff for the channel and keep it going. But I would do this for free. I wouldn't make videos if it cost me money, right? If it was like, you can't have any revenue on the videos, but and you're gonna have to pay us, $25 a month to film. And no, we're not doing it then, okay? But short of that, I would do this for free. Did it for free my whole life. We don't do this for the money. Good thing, right? I'm not going to my day job for free, but that's different. Yeah, anyways, you walked away, but I was like, when they had those George Floyd protests in Minneapolis, did that happen in Minneapolis too? That is just like a cesspool of fucking problems. I'm not saying the guy designed, that any of that was right or anything. I'm just saying that all that stuff seems to happen in these places. But anyways, I think one of the fires that they had, went out of control, and they had to shut down operations at GHQ Miniatures because of it. I'm not making this up. I don't know that they suffered any damage or permanent, but they had to shut down operations. Whenever that happened, what was it? 5 years ago or something like that? Yeah, I don't want to live in it. I don't want to live anywhere where there's like, they can just shut down your city. And I mean, I guess it happened everywhere, but it doesn't. I think when they had those protests in Miami Beach, they started doing that stuff and like flipping police cars and the Miami Beach Police Department showed up like it was freaking Piñata Day. Started beating on people, not for no reason. Like, get the fuck out! You don't get to destroy public property. That shit wouldn't fly in Texas either, man. They'll take care of it before the police showed up. They'd be like all rooftop Korean on their ass. You had no idea the GHQ place got hit during that. I don't think I'll be working tonight, so I'm going to play some Easy Red 2. This is probably your favorite World War II game right now. What the hell is Easy Red 2? Well, now I got to find out what it is. Easy Red 2. Video game. Okay. Oh. Ooh, I like this picture. You get to play Nazis in it? Easy Red 2. Never heard of it. Oh, it's on Xbox. Well, why didn't you say that? Easy Red 2. Is it free? One of them free to play? Free to win games? Pay to win? Pay to win is what it is. Easy Red 2. Came out 2024. Alright, I'll have to check that out. I'm not big on shooters because I've done too many of them. Never heard of it. It's like $10. I wouldn't play a shooter. I can't play a shooter on my computer, and the reason why is I'm tapped out. All I have space for is War Thunder. I can literally like I have no memory on it. It only came with 256 gig. That's like it's like a pre-built computer. That's how it was, because it's a it's a tablet type thing. But I'll play it on and I'll play it on Xbox. Easy Red 2 off the Easy Red 2. Easy Red 2. Okay, we have to check that out. I'll go in there and tell you everything is wrong with it. Hey, use that gun. They used the wrong thing. That guy's got the wrong water bottle. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all the wrong water bottle stuff. Right? I'm not a reenactor, but sometimes I know too much about World War II that I just can't enjoy it. Well, it shouldn't be enjoyable. It's a fucking war. Okay, all right. I got it. You know. Oh man, never heard of it. Never heard of it. I mean, there's that Hell Let Loose, and I never played that one either. There's one called, I think it was a modification for Battlefield, one of the Battlefields. I forget which one it is. Battlefield came out at a time period when I didn't have a computer. And they have a map that's City Rizet. And I watched a video of somebody playing it just to get ideas for like the terrain and stuff like that. And it's got the airfield and pretty cool, you know. I mean, some of the maps in some of these games are pretty freaking neat. But I play, which one is it? Call of Duty World at War or whatever. And you play Americans and you play Russians as well. And I said one of the Russian missions, you're in a Russian tank. And when you point at other Russian tanks, it literally, instead of like saying the guy's name, it has the name of the tank. You know, Soviet tank, 183, whatever. If it has a slogan on it, give you the name of the slogan. And this tank in particular was called Tiger Tamer. So I remembered that, and I'm like, I'm painting Tiger Tamer on one of my T-34-85s, right? Like something that can actually tame a tiger, not a T-34-76, a T-34-85. So I went online, found out what that looks like in Cyrillic, and painted that on the tank. And one of my daughter's roommates at the time was from Macedonia, where they have a Greek language, which Cyrillic is Greekish, Greek-like. And I was showing her what I was doing. She's like, why does the tank say Tiger Tamer on the side of it? I'm like, holy fuck, guess I did it right. So that was super cool. I enjoyed that. Let me know if you need and you end up getting it. I've been looking for someone to play with. All the campaigns are co-op, and there's Shanghai download content that I haven't got yet. You play on computer, I take it? Is computer and Xbox compatible? Are they? In some games it does allow you to do it, some ones it doesn't. Xbox just allows you to, I got lots of space on there, and I got the Series X or whatever. It's just easy to go and, aim everywhere, and, I mean, I got War Thunder. You can't fly War Thunder on the Xbox. I can't fly War Thunder on the Xbox at all. Flying on the PC, yeah, I'm good at that. But I'm not the best, but I can fly competently. Sometimes the controllers just don't jive with it, but I'll check out a video of it. Easy Red 2. Like it's a freaking Normandy game, right? That's all you're doing is landing them. So you can play anything. Can you play Russian Front? Well, it used to be there's no games that were Russian Front. Now just about all of them have them. some people realize, like, you know, that's some cool shit that happened. Not cool shit. It's all horrible. It's war, okay? But super interesting stuff. Let me put it that way. Right? Super interesting stuff on the Eastern Front. PC Xbox can play according to their Steam page. Let's just figure this out now. Easy red to Xbox. What? It's $10? It's $8.99? Why is it so fucking cheap? The Shanghai is alright. I will if I haven't checked it out today, okay? You remind me tomorrow morning. You remind me tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'll take an $8 risk. I'll take an $8 risk. Yeah, I've never heard of it before. I've heard of Hell Let Loose. I haven't played any. I'm playing them. I mean, I played them a lot. What makes this one cool? Other than it's got Shanghai content, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Something interesting. You just want somebody to play Japanese with, so we can do some ridiculous bonsai charge. I'll fucking do it. I like everything. There's no. The only thing I don't like about World War II is, like, you know, doing like island hopping campaign, and like you're stuck on a fucking island and you're not doing anything, and you know somebody else got. But none of that stuff. Even the Pacific stuff that I played on some of the games, pretty neat playing both sides. Doing Anzio right now. I'll check if they have Eastern Front in a sec. Pretty sure they do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably do also. You know, I like everything. I mean, one game that I really liked when it came out was what was it called? Where you could actually direct guys. You basically played like a squad leader. Brothers in Arms. And I know they had it for the PC too. It's probably really dated now, but you could, like, you know, it was a shooter, and then you could tell your guys, hey, go over to that. You know, you could point, you could move your cursor in first person mode where you wanted your guys to go, and you could direct them. They would go there and put a fire. So you could do like leapfrog tactics. It's not made it like really unique in that, you know, and it was authentic, you know. Except the only thing that wasn't authentic is the mag. I believe that was the game that had the magazines on the Thompson. The Thompson submachine gun, which was the main weapon that you used because you were a squad leader, or you could be a squad leader. Had only 20 rounds in them in that game, and they did use 20-round magazines for the Thompson. But as far as I can tell, they were 32-round magazines, primarily what they used, or 30-round magazines. The MP40 had 32-round magazines. But from what I can tell, and that's a big difference. I mean, you 20 rounds with a Thompson is you know, you're fucked. I mean, you're like you're going to be out of ammo in a heartbeat. I mean, Thompson fires like 700 rounds a minute or something like that. Even if you're firing, you know, control burst, like you're going to be out of ammo in a long time. You know, 20 versus 32 rounds is a big difference. That was my gripe with that game. That's really the only gripe I had. You know, you couldn't carry 7 grenades. I mean, you would be limited to like 3 or something. It was like it was pretty reasonable. Campaign maps are really open. What I like is the next level. The next level never jumps ahead in time. It's just what's in front of you. There's a squad control, or you can just be a GI in a squad. Interesting. Is there vehicles? It's gotta be vehicles. It's gotta be vehicles. Gotta be vehicles. Hold on one second. I'll definitely check that out. You mainly play as a tank gunner. Why is it so cheap? It probably has one of those. Who the hell makes it? Oh, it's Italian. Corvo Studio di Amadeo Marco. Content is locked. Okay. That's close to my. That's close to my date. What do we got here? Okay. I'll definitely check it out, man. I'll definitely check it out. I never heard of it. Of course, I'm not really in the know. But I like that kind of stuff because it's inspirational to then bring the stuff that you see to the creative aspect. Not just like, well, I'm just gonna play video games the rest of my life. Like that's not therapeutic. It's fun and it can be, really hilarious when things happen. Okay, so this is two more levels of this. I'm going to, let's see, we're going to take this one. I know we're not going to be able to finish this piece all the way even. I remember there was one first person shooter that was, back in the day, there was like no World War II games for shooters. You had Wolfenstein 3D, that was it. You play with a keyboard, oh my god. And and then they had Wolfenstein. They had the Wolfenstein, the whatever the one was that actually like looked pretty impressive. But one of the first World War II games that I played that was almost like a team. I guess it was like a Team Fortress type of mod based on Half-Life, on the Half-Life engine. Was this game called Day of Defeat, and it's probably still around now. And you could play. It was the only game where you could change your handle, at least on PC. I played on PC. You change your handle from battle to battle. So it wasn't like you were stuck being, number one corporal or whatever. No matter, if you were playing the Germans or the Americans, the British, you play Germans, Americans, or British. You probably play, if they expanded it, they probably expanded it. You can play Russians or something like that. But at that time, that's all you could play is the Americans, Germans, or British. So I don't remember what I used to play as my handle on the individual ones. When I played the Germans, I remember I changed my handle just to get a yuck out of people as the Führer's bitch. So that was the Führer's bitch. So if you ever encountered I didn't play it that much, but if you ever encountered the Führer's bitch, that was me. Just get a rise out of people. But obviously you don't want that name if you're playing British. Like, be kind of stupid, But only game I've ever seen where you could actually do that. You change your handle from battle to battle. Back when we used to play, what was it called? The Counter-Terrorist, Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike. Those games were, obviously very basic by today's standards, but they were pretty unique. I remember when Half-Life came out. The day it came out, I bought it on a Sunday, and I stayed up I was in my early 20s. Early 20s? Mid 20s. I stayed up all night playing that. On a Sunday. Went to work, exhausted. It was incredible. It was incredible at the time. Great plot line, great gameplay. The game ran smooth. Really cool game. Yeah, I'm not a first-person shooter because I've done it all. Like, I did something I hadn't done. I talked about it. I did something I hadn't done in a long time the other day. Last month. I'm trying to complete my stuff in Diablo 4 for the newest season or whatever. They dropped the paladin on there. I'm like, I want to play a paladin. I really enjoy doing it. I was like, okay, well, I want to unlock all the stuff for the season, so I'm doing that. So there's a particular mission that you need to do with other people to be more successful with it. So I decided to like speak with people because I don't normally speak with people in video games because there's too many 7-year-olds, right? And I don't want to interact with 7-year-olds because they've got a mouth on them. Like I'm not rude to people. You know, there's no reason to be rude to people just to be rude to people. And some people get a rise out of that. I don't. I don't think it's worth my time, investment, and like just being a fucking asshole, right? It's just not really what I'm. So I really don't talk to people. I don't want to listen to people. Whatever. This time I decided, and man, I hadn't listened to people like on that kind of a that I didn't know, just random people, and it's like, man, I didn't realize there's so many people that were like fucking stoned playing the game, playing a video game. It's like, dude, go out and get a job, like just, and like being a dick too, like, that's supposed to make you like happy, like, a happy stoner or something like that. That guy's got beaten like a fucking dick. Didn't have a good experience with that, so. But it'd been shit. I probably hadn't put on a mic and talked to random people in a video game probably easily 10 years. Easily 10 years. And I guess I didn't realize so many people play video games and got stoned. Like, dude, that's a good way to get killed, man. You need to be on your, you need to be on your game, or you're gonna end up dead. I mean, I guess you don't care if you're stoned, but I wasn't expecting that. You don't get stoned when you play? Okay. You better reaction time than that. Yeah, we used to have a group of people that I knew that we'd play with. God, what would it have been? 2006, something like that. Yeah, it was all right. It was it was fun, but I don't mind interacting with people, but it's people that I know and in real life. Because if it's people that you don't have any history with, it's nothing for them to just say, well, I just fucking leave this guy hanging. What's he gonna do? I'm never gonna see this guy again. Well, that's goes against my honor code. Like that's not cool. I think I'll put this piece down first, and I'm gonna leave this one wide because I'm getting lazy. I remember when we played it, Call of Duty World War II, man. I love playing the tanks. Love playing the tanks. Just like, I'm not going back there. I'm sit back here and blast the shit out of you. It's like, oh, there's guys in that building. I said, we're just gonna put round after round of 85 millimeter HE. You think you have a stoner's voice? Well, I guess we'll find out. Oh, Marcus, man. I do a voice call with Marcus. We do a video call with Marcus. And Marcus was always like, Marcus that comes on here. He's always like, man, I sound like a real redneck. I'm like, you don't. You sound like I do. Of course, I'm a morpher. You put me in the wrong environment, I can get contaminated. Like, I'm not allowed to go to, like, Boston or something like that. Pick up that horrible twang. Or whatever it is that they speak up there. Marcus, dude, you sound exactly like everybody I deal with in Florida. And I'm not talking about the redneck people in Florida. I'm just talking about the regular people in Florida. As somebody said, somebody from across the pond said I had a mid-Atlantic accent. I'm like, I'm not from fucking Philadelphia. Stoners were, look out, man, there's some freaking guys of Germans behind you. And speak a little faster than that, we're all gonna fucking die, you know, like, you need to be like, you know, like, you gotta be careful, man, they're out to get us. Bad guys are out to get you, man. You gotta do a recon a little quicker than that. I don't think I've ever heard a redneck on your games. Who's the most redneck person we have? Well, Mitch is a Yankee. Yeah, no, I guess we don't. I mean, you don't have a, you know. I morph, so if I'm like around some of the people that work or whatever, and I leave work, my wife will say like, "Who the hell have you been around that's, you know, raised on a farm?" Like, well, you know, I morph, you know, so I think there's a correlation between morphing and like being able to do accents. Like I think if you don't morph, you're not good at accents. That one guy on here, this bro said he was from Russia. I was airbrushing, and he claimed that I did a pretty good Russian accent. I said, well, you know, I thank you. You know, it's one of the things I enjoy the most about, you know, playing, you know, games where you're playing somebody of a different nationality is, you know, pretending to, you know, I don't mean it to be disrespectful. I just, you know, I think it's part of the engagement, you know. Oh man, we are almost done with this. God, these things are going to be so good. These things are going to be so good. Which is this one? The redneck one? This the the redneckistani ones? Yep, that's them. We got to put some kind of stand here. We got to have that guy with a gun. You better get off my damn property, you son of a bitch. You know. Yeah, someone drive. Oh yeah, Texas. Well, he was in Texas. The Arizona Jim. I think he's in Texas now. Super nice guy. This guy he found me on Fanaticus or whatever. I think it was on Fanaticus. Nicest man you've ever fucking met in your life. You know, it's like you hit it off with somebody that you've never met him, but it just seems like you've known him your whole life. And I've encountered a handful of people that way. A handful of people that's like you meet them for the first time and you talk to them. They're all people that have been in the hobby, and it's like, man, where have you been my whole life? Like I've like I know you. Like, you know, he was one of them. This other guy also was from California. Never met him before. He was friends with Marty. Nicest freaking guy ever. He passed away a couple of years ago. He wasn't even that old. He had some kind of complication. One of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life, and I didn't know him. I mean, I guess maybe he realized I wasn't a dirtbag like other people. I don't know. He had a sixth sense. I don't know. Nicest guy. Like I've known him my whole life. Jim, Texas Jim. Yeah, Texas Jim actually has my same birthday as I do, and you know, he was a DBA player and came down a couple times. I think he pulled an all nighter. Like he would like leave like Arizona, drive all the way, not stop. I'm like, dude, that's fucking dangerous. I mean, nobody should be doing that, but you know, he's got 20 years on me at least. About 20 years on me. So you know, like you shouldn't be doing that. This guy that I met in Spain that I met last year that found out about that I was doing 20mm stuff, and he wanted to meet me because he knew I was making my lifelong pilgrimage to Spain, and it's like I've known him my entire life. This guy, you know, super nice guy. I mean, not only is it a nice person, but it's like somebody you feel like you've known them, like you know, you just, yeah. So it's rare, but you do encounter people like that. Yeah, Texas Jim. Yeah, I stopped doing DBA, and I think the guys just lost communication with him. It's like, you know, dude, all you got to do is like, look, run with the ball, like, right, like here's the ball, like run with it. Like I don't want DBA to die. I'm just like, I'm tired of it being problems for me. I don't think they kept in touch with him, you know. Yeah. Was he in the video? I think he's in the video. I think he's in one of the videos. There's that one time that we did that one convention because they made this thing like, we're going to run the convention again, but if you're going to come to our convention, you're going to wear a mask. And I'm like, I'm not wearing a mask to fucking play games. And I'm also not a rules breaker. Like, if you have, we're going to do a game at Mitch's and everybody's got to wear a fucking dress. Like, you ain't going to see me in a fucking dress or a kilt or anything. Like, so I just won't go. It's not like, well, I'm going to show up and something I'm not supposed to. I'm like, okay, here are the rules. I don't feel like dealing with those rules, so I'm not going to show up. So we did our own convention in town, and not to poo-poo theirs, but it's like, and he showed up for that, and we did a whole weekend of it or whatever. I guess it was 2020. This was in 2020. I think I got him in. I think Texas Jim's in one in the videos. Super nice guy, and paints too, which is really unusual. Yeah, because nobody paints anymore, Yeah, super nice guy. Yeah, but though he sounds rednecky, I'm a little immune to it. You get some people that, I'm used to accents, and then you get some people that are like, what the hell, man? I got this one customer I'm dealing with. He sounds like Foghorn Leghorn, but he's not funny. He's a pain. But that's one of the few customers that I say are a pain. Most of them are not. Okay. Rednecks. What you got yourself here is some extra large rednecks. Yeah. Texas Jim is a nice, super nice guy. The Vietnam vet too. Okay, we're gonna do. This is all we have of this. We're gonna have to order this. We're gonna have to order this stuff online. I don't know what balsa wood online is. I mean, I think I'm okay with the signs that I have here, but for future signs, here's your sign. All right, so this, I don't want to stray from putting it on this. But I think we're going to do, for the sake of variety, we may make this one lower. We don't want to keep going higher and higher and higher, We're going to make this one lower. And we're going to put a stand somehow. I might even move it to one side, and we have space to put like a little platform here that we're going to make big enough to put a penny in. That way we're covered if we want to put a figure on a penny. Some old coot, I don't even have to be old, shooting at people as they go by. So I think that would be appropriate, It's campaigns. Easy Red 2 has Anzio Casino, Tunisia, South and North. Kos, that's the Greek island. Flintlock, I don't know what the hell that is. And Macon for the base game. What? No Eastern Front? What the? Oh man, so much for doing a human wave. Hoorah! And etc. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is, this is a good stopping point. We're going to stop here. We'll pick up tomorrow morning. I'll watch some videos on that Easy Red thing and see where that takes us. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow morning. Appreciate the company. Got a lot done, and we'll do it again in the morning.